You think once you are rich, you can do whatever you want. Right? Wrong. The reality is the richer you get, the more you are trapped in a set of invisible rules no one ever hands you. You are not just living, you are sending signals. You choose a flight, they read you. You wear an outfit, they judge you. You say one sentence, they remember it. And the most interesting part is, no one tells you what game you are even playing. But the moment you make one wrong move, everything changes instantly. Relationships fade. The way people look at you shifts. And at that point you start to wonder, are you actually richer or just being watched more professionally? Story 1. Flying economy and the invisible cost. You think saving money is smart, right? One guy thought the same. He chose to fly economy because the flight was only a few hours. Not worth burning money. At first everything was completely normal. No drama, no problem. He got on the plane, sat down, opened his laptop, and even felt like he had just made a very rational decision, until someone took a photo of that exact moment and posted it in a private group he did not even know existed. No comments, no direct criticism, but a few days later, things started to shift. An invitation disappeared. A phone call never came. A meeting got postponed, with no new date. No one explained anything, but somehow, everyone understood. In that world, you are not allowed to look like you are saving money. You have to look like money was never a concern. And sometimes the thing that costs you the most is the moment you try to save. And if you think that is story 2, asking the price and the question that disqualifies you. Hey, how much is this? Sounds normal, right? One guy thought so too. He simply asked the price of an item during a gathering. No one reacted, no one showed attitude. The conversation even continued like nothing happened. But in that exact moment, everything changed. The eye contact slowed down, the atmosphere shifted just a little. And he had no idea he had just said the wrong thing. In that world, if you have to ask the price, the answer is already decided. You do not belong here, because the ones who belong do not ask. They just choose. And the funny part is, no one explains that to you. They just remember, then quietly adjust how they treat you. And you only realize it when it is already too late. And if you think this is strange, the next ones get even harder to believe. Story 3. Repeating an outfit, and the signal no one talks about. Wearing the same outfit twice sounds completely normal, right? One woman thought so too. She wore the same dress to another event because it still looked great and still fit perfectly. No one criticized. No one said anything. There were even a few polite compliments. But the looks were different. Some people stared just a little longer. Some conversations became just a little shorter. And the atmosphere shifted in a way that was hard to explain. In that world, repeating is not seen as saving, it is seen as a signal something is off, maybe money or worse, you are no longer keeping up. And the funny part is, there was nothing wrong with the outfit, just the signal it sent was completely wrong. And you will not realize it until the way people treat you starts to change. And if you think that is already strange, wait for what comes next. Story 4. Being on time. And the signal no one wants to carry. Being on time sounds polite, right? One man thought so too. He arrived a few minutes early for an important meeting and felt like he was doing everything right. No one complained. No one said anything. Everything still went as planned. But one small detail started to feel off. He was the first one there, sitting watching people walk in one by one, and slowly, he realized he was the only one who showed up on time. In that world, being on time is not a plus. It is a signal you are not busy enough to make others wait. Important people always arrive a little late, just enough to create the feeling that they matter. And the funny part is, no one says this out loud, but everyone follows it. And you only realize it when you are the one sitting there waiting. And if you think this is confusing, the next rules get even stranger. Story 5. Finishing your plate. And the signal you didn't expect. Cleaning your plate sounds completely normal, right? One man thought so too. He simply finished his meal at a fancy dinner because it was genuinely good. No one said anything. No one reacted. Everything still looked perfectly normal. But something small started to shift. A few quick glances, a couple subtle smiles, and the atmosphere changed just a little. In that world, finishing your food is not seen as polite. It is seen as a sign you are not used to having more than enough people. They often leave a little behind as a quiet way of saying they are not lacking. And the funny part is, you did nothing wrong. It is just the signal you sent was not the right one. And sometimes the most normal action becomes the thing you are judged for the most. And if you think that is already absurd, it only gets stranger from here. Story 6. A normal tip and the price no one talks about. Tipping the standard amount sounds reasonable, right? One man thought so too. He paid his bill and left a completely normal tip. Not too little, not too much. No one complained. No one showed attitude. The staff still smiled and said thank you politely. Everything looked perfect, but that was exactly the problem. In that world, normal is not enough. A standard tip does not create an impression, and that makes you forgettable in a way no one wants. The staff will not say anything, but they remember and they talk about it in very subtle ways. And over time you start to notice you are not treated the same anymore. Not because you did something wrong, but because you did not do enough to stand out. And sometimes in that world, not standing out is the mistake. And if you think that is already confusing, wait until you see how they move. Story 7. Taking an Uber and the moment your image drops. Choosing convenience sounds completely normal, right? One man thought so too. He called an Uber because the distance was short and it was not worth making things complicated. No one stopped him. No one questioned it. The car even arrived perfectly on time. Like a very logical decision. But the problem was not logic. The problem was, someone saw it. Just one moment stepping out of the back seat of a very normal car was enough to change how people started to see him. In that world, people do not look at how you got there. They look at what your image says. And an Uber says something they do not want to hear, that you are no longer at the level they thought. The funny part is, he was still just as rich, only the story people told about him got a little poorer. And if you think that is already absurd, wait for the next story. Story 8. Wearing something old and the signal you are falling behind. A watch from last year still works perfectly. Sounds like no problem, right? One man thought so too. He wore his usual watch again because it still looked great, still precise, and there was no reason to replace it. No one criticized. No one said anything. It was still an expensive piece. But in that world, the issue is not quality. It is timing. Some people looked a little longer. Some conversations felt a little flatter. And no one needed to say anything because they already understood. Here old does not mean broken. Old means you are no longer keeping up. And the funny part is, you did not change at all, but the way they saw you did, just because of something that still worked perfectly. And if you think that is already confusing, the next rules get even stranger. Story 9. Laughing too much and the signal you've lost control. You think being cheerful is a good thing, right? One man thought so too. He laughed freely at a party because things were genuinely funny and there was no reason to keep a serious face. No one corrected him. No one looked offended. A few people even laughed along, and at first the atmosphere seemed completely fine. But then something small started to shift. A few looks lasted a little longer. A few people started talking to each other instead of talking to him, and the mood slowly turned colder in a way that was hard to notice at first. In that world, being too cheerful can make you look like you are not fully in control of yourself. Cool does not mean never laughing, it means knowing exactly when to stop. And the funny part is, he did nothing wrong. He just showed too much in a place that values restraint, and sometimes less gets treated like it costs more. And if you think that is already hard to understand, the next rules get even stricter. Story 10. Posting something normal and the cost of being normal. A simple meal, a normal moment sounds like nothing is wrong, right? One man thought so too. He posted a very everyday photo, just a light dinner and a chill angle. No one criticized, no one left negative comments, a few people even dropped polite likes. But something small started to change. Engagement was lower than usual, people who normally reacted stayed silent, and the overall presence around him started to fade. In that world, social media is not where you share your life, it is where you build your image. And normal is not neutral, normal is the wrong signal. You do not have to be wrong to be judged, you just have to be not impressive enough. And the funny part is, the more natural you are, the easier you are to be ignored. And if you think that is already absurd, from here on it only levels up. Story 11. Looking like you didn't try, and the pressure to be effortless. You have to look perfect? Sounds reasonable, right? One man thought so too. He prepared carefully for an event, picked every piece, adjusted every detail to make everything look polished. No one complained, no one criticized on the surface. Everything looked perfect, but something small started to show. A few looks lasted a little longer. A few light jokes, like you look like you tried a bit too hard, and the atmosphere shifted in a way that was hard to name. In that world, you have to look perfect, but never like you tried. The moment people can see your effort, you have already lost. Because the real standard is not perfection, it is effortless perfection. And the funny part is, the more you try, the easier it is to be exposed. And if you think that is already pressure, wait until it gets even harder. Story 12. No stylist, and the price of looking too natural. Picking your own clothes sounds completely normal, right? One man thought so too. He chose his outfit in the simplest way possible because he thought being comfortable and looking good was enough. No one criticized. No one said anything. And on the surface, it still looked fine. But something small started to show. A few looks lasted a little longer, a few light questions like, "Wait, did you style this yourself?" And the atmosphere shifted in a way that was hard to notice at first. In that world, looking too natural becomes a problem, because everything is prepared behind the scenes and still has to look like nobody prepared it. If you look too natural, they assume you do not have a system behind you. And the funny part is, he did nothing wrong, he just did everything himself. While in that world, everything is the result of an entire team. And if you think that is already strange, wait until convenience becomes the problem. Story 13. Choosing convenience and why simplicity becomes a problem. The more convenient something is, the better. Sounds logical, right? One man thought so too. He chose things that were quick and easy because they saved time and effort. No one argued, no one said anything, everything still worked perfectly, but something small started to show. A few looks lasted a little longer, a few light questions like, "You actually use that?" And the atmosphere shifted in a way that was hard to explain. In that world, convenience is a signal you are choosing the easy path, while the real standard is everything should be complex, but look, effortless. If it is too easy, it no longer carries enough value to signal status. And the funny part is, he did nothing wrong, he just chose the faster option. While in that world, slower is often seen as better. And if you think that is already strange, wait until you see how they take vacations. Story 14. No summer house and the sign you do not belong. No one asks if you have a summer house. Sounds unimportant, right? One man thought so too. He never considered needing one because work already kept him busy. No one questioned him. No one said anything directly. The topic was rarely even mentioned out loud. But something small started to show. Conversations about vacations he could not really join. Plans discussed as if they were obvious. And those quiet moments when he had nothing to add. In that world, a summer house is not just a place, it is a signal. You are inside the right circle. If you do not have one, no one will say anything, but they know you do not fully belong. And the funny part is, no one requires you to have it. It is just that without it, you are always slightly outside. And if you think that is already subtle, wait until you see where they actually travel. Story 15. Traveling to the wrong place, and the cost of the wrong location. It should not matter where you travel. Sounds logical, right? One man thought so too. He booked a trip to a place he genuinely liked. Beautiful scenery, quiet, no unnecessary noise. No one criticized. No one objected. The photos still looked great. Everything seemed perfectly fine, but something small started to show. A few people asked again. A bit slower, like they were checking if he was serious. Some conversations ended a little faster, and others started mentioning different places, as if those were the correct choices. In that world, the problem is not whether the trip is enjoyable, it is whether you are in the right place, being seen with the right people. The wrong location is not just the wrong place, it is the wrong network. And if you think that is already exhausting, wait until you see how they even text each other. Story 16. Texting too long, and the signal you're trying too hard. Explaining things clearly sounds reasonable, right? One man thought so too. He sent a long message to fully explain his point in an important conversation. No one objected. No one said anything. The content was clear and made perfect sense. But something small started to show. Replies became shorter. The gaps between responses grew longer. And the conversation slowly lost its rhythm. In that world, short is power. A concise message shows you do not need to prove anything. The longer it gets, the more it feels like you are trying to justify your place. And the funny part is, he was not wrong at all. He just said too much in a place that values minimalism. And sometimes fewer words carry more weight. And if you think that is already strange, money itself follows a completely different set of rules. Story 17. Splitting the bill and the signal you do not belong. Splitting the bill sounds fair, right? One man thought so too. He suggested splitting evenly after dinner because it was simple, quick, and completely reasonable. No one objected. No one said anything at the table. Everyone even kept smiling like nothing happened. But something small started to shift. A few looks lasted a little longer. Some replies later became shorter. And the warmth from earlier faded just a little. In that world, splitting the bill is not seen as fair, it is seen as a sign you are still calculating. While those who truly belong have to look like money was never even a topic. And the funny part is, he was not cheap at all. He just acted like a normal person in a place that does not like normal. And if you think that is already exhausting, wait until you see the quieter rules they never say out loud. Story 18. Choosing the wrong wine. And the moment people start judging. A small choice sounds like it should not matter, right? One man thought so too. He picked a bottle of wine based on his own taste because he assumed liking it was reason enough. No one objected. No one corrected him. The conversation even kept going politely, like nothing had happened. But something small started to show. A few looks lasted a little longer. A few smiles appeared, then disappeared very quickly, and the atmosphere shifted in a way that was hard to explain. In that world, small details are never actually small. A choice that seems harmless can be enough for people to measure how familiar you are with the game. And the funny part is, the wine still tasted exactly the same. Only your image started to fade a little. And if you think that is already exhausting, wait until even the things you use start getting judged just as hard. Story 19. Using old things and the mistake of being too logical. It still works perfectly. Sounds like a solid reason, right? One man thought so too. He kept using an old item because it was still nice, still durable, and there was no real reason to replace it. No one objected. No one said anything on the surface. Everything seemed completely fine, but something small started to show. A few looks lasted a little longer. A few light questions like, "You're still using that?" And the atmosphere shifted in a way that was hard to notice. In that world, the issue is not whether something still works, it is whether it is still the right timing. Everything has to be updated at the right moment to show you are always keeping up with the pace. And the funny part is, the more logical you are, the more you start to look like you do not belong. And if you think that is already exhausting, wait until even your reactions are expected to be controlled. Story 20. Showing surprise and the signal you do not belong. No matter what happens, you are supposed to act like you have seen it before. Sounds a bit absurd, right? One man thought so too. He was genuinely surprised by a new experience, so he reacted naturally. With real excitement, no one corrected him. No one complained. A few people even smiled lightly. But something small started to show. A few looks exchanged between people, a few smiles that carried a different meaning, and the atmosphere shifted in a way that was hard to name. In that world, surprise is not just an emotion, it is a signal. You are not used to what is happening. Those who belong react like they have already seen everything. And the funny part is, he did nothing wrong. He just reacted too honestly in a place that values control. And from here, things do not just get strange, they start to feel a little unsettling. Story 21. Befriending the wrong people and the position you put yourself in. You think choosing your friends is completely normal, right? One man thought so too. He became close with people he genuinely liked, people he could talk to easily, people he felt comfortable around. No one stopped him. No one objected. Everything still seemed perfectly natural. But something small started to change. A few invitations stopped showing up. A few conversations became a little more distant, and the way people looked at him started to shift. In that world, you are not just choosing friends, you are choosing your social position. The people you stand beside become the way other people define you. And the funny part is, he did nothing wrong. He was just standing next to people who did not match the image they expected, and sometimes just choosing the wrong people is enough to pull you down with them. And if you think that is already pressure, wait until the same logic starts applying to love. Story 22. Marrying the wrong person and the cost of a choice that felt like love. This is just about love. Sounds a bit cold to question, right? One man thought so too. He chose to marry the person he loved because he believed feelings were what mattered most. No one objected. No one said anything. The wedding was beautiful. Everything looked perfect, just like any other story. But something small started to change. A few invitations slowly disappeared. Some relationships became more distant, and opportunities that once came easily started fading away. In that world, marriage is not just between two people, it is a connection between two systems. Choosing the wrong person is not just about emotion, it is about choosing the wrong position in the game. And the strange part is, he was still happy, but the world around him was no longer the same. And sometimes a personal decision becomes the biggest social signal of all. And if you think that is already complex, wait until timing itself becomes part of the judgment. Story 23. Not showing up and how you slowly disappear. Missing a few events does not sound like a big deal, right? One man thought so too. He skipped a few gatherings because of work and assumed it was completely normal. No one blamed him. No one asked. No one even brought it up directly. But something small started to change. His name showed up. Less in conversations, invitations stopped coming like before, and slowly, he realized he was no longer part of important plans. In that world, showing up is not just about being present, it is a signal you are still inside the system. If you do not appear at the right time, people quietly adjust the game. Without you, and the strange part is, no one tells you that you have been removed, they just continue, as if you were never there. And if you think that is already bad, wait until you try to come back on your own. Story 24. Starting the conversation first, and the signal you are in the wrong position. Taking the first step sounds confident, right? One man thought so too. He started conversations with the people he wanted to connect with because he believed being proactive was an advantage. No one rejected him, no one looked annoyed, the conversations even seemed completely normal on the surface. But something small started to shift. The replies became shorter, the interest did not last, and the conversation ended quickly without leaving anything behind. In that world, people with value do not need to approach. First, they are the ones others come to. If you are the one starting, you are quietly placing yourself in the lower position. And the funny part is, he was not wrong at all. He was just using the right move in the wrong place, because their silence is sometimes stronger than words. And if you think that is already hard to understand, there are still rules no one ever says out loud. Story 25. Not knowing the rules, and the cost of no instructions. No guide, no manual sounds unfair, right? One man thought so too. He entered a new environment and did everything the way he thought was reasonable. No one corrected him. No one gave feedback on the surface. Everything still seemed normal. But something small started to change. Conversations became shorter, opportunities stopped appearing, and the sense of distance grew little by little. In that world, the rules are never written, but everyone is expected to know them. If you get it wrong, people notice immediately, and the strange part is, they will not say anything. No warning, no advice, just silence and distance. And the frustrating part is, you do not even know what you did wrong until you realize you are already outside the game. And if you think that is already pressure, wait until even your tone becomes a mistake. Story 26. Not reading the room. He walked into the room full of confidence, the kind that says, "I am the center of the universe." He cracked a few jokes, said a few polite things, but immediately everything started to feel off. No one laughed. No one responded. Even the gazes began to slide away as if a strange creature had entered. He kept trying, thinking that speaking more would save the situation, but each line only widened the distance. They didn't correct him. They didn't comment. They just avoided him. It felt like standing in a room full of invisible mirrors. Everyone glanced past, avoided eye contact, and he kept talking as if nothing was wrong. Lesson. In this social world, if you don't read the room before speaking, all your efforts will make you invisible at maximum natural humor. Even one line off tone and suddenly, you become the center of attention in a way you definitely don't want. Story 27. Not keeping secrets. He thought sharing a few small stories would be fine. Just once, a funny anecdote. And suddenly, everything started going wrong. Within minutes, the glances around him began to shift. Conversations shortened. Invitations disappeared. He realized that just one slip of the tongue was enough to lose access to a world he had thought was safe. And don't think the pressure ends there. No, it continues. Silently creeping in, making every subsequent action 10 times more calculated. He learned an expensive lesson in this social world. Keeping secrets is not just polite, it's how you maintain power trust. And sometimes, your place within the network. Share too much and one day you'll realize a single word can close a door forever. Story 28. Not maintaining your lifestyle. He thought lowering his standards just a little wouldn't matter. Just once a more relaxed moment in how he dressed, spoke, or even behaved, and immediately everything started to shift. Every glance in the room seemed to notice. No words, no reminders, just a look, and they knew you had dropped your standards. From that moment, interactions changed, fewer invitations, fewer opportunities, respect slowly fading. He realized that in a world where image and style are the unwritten rules, one small lapse is enough to make you the worst version in everyone's eyes. The more he tried to recover, the more cringeworthy it became. Lesson: maintain your lifestyle, not for anyone else, but for yourself. One slip, and from then on, everything changes in a way that's both funny and quietly heartbreaking. Story 29. Not responding in private groups. He thought staying silent in a private group was just silence. One time he didn't reply. One time he skipped a message and he told himself, no one will notice. Oh, how wrong he was. In everyone else's eyes, that silence wasn't neutral. It was like a neon sign. You're stepping back, you're not engaged, you're no longer in the loop. He tried to explain, but all eyes followed his every move, every expression, as if he were on a reality show where every step was filmed. He realized that in the world of private groups, every action carries meaning. One moment of silence and suddenly, you're the person under constant scrutiny. Every comment, every interaction, every decision afterward is examined with extreme precision. Lesson: never underestimate the power of silence. One missed reply and you're both isolated, and under surveillance in a hilariously cringe way. Story 30. Always being watched. He thought he was just living normally, going to work, grabbing coffee, joking with a few people around. But the truth was far from simple. Every step, every gesture, every word was treated like a performance. No one said anything, but all eyes were on him, observing, recording, judging. He smiled, thinking a small action wouldn't matter. Wrong, every move carried meaning. A fleeting glance, a slight smirk from someone, enough to make him feel like he'd just committed a grave mistake. The way he walked, sat, even sipped his coffee, all became part of the performance. And here's the scariest part: you're not just living, you're performing. No right to silence, no private space, every tiny detail is scrutinized, and suddenly, existing among others feels more intense than standing on a Broadway stage. Story 31. Thinking you're free. He told himself, finally I've leveled up. True freedom. He thought he could do anything, go anywhere, say anything, like unlocking a real-life achievement in a game. He imagined himself moving freely, unbound, every decision entirely his own. He pictured life like an action movie, everything under control, and he was the super cool main character. But the truth was much harsher. Just a few days later, he realized he wasn't free at all. In reality, he had just moved into a prettier cage. This cage was shiny, luxurious, Instagram-able, but still a cage. All the limits, the unspoken rules, the watching eyes were still there, just more subtle, more elegant, but still binding. He sighed. True freedom isn't about feeling free or looking free. It's about how much control you have over what's around you. And this new level may look better, but it's still a cage. 31 stories. And every single one is real. The common thread: they're not wrong. They're absolutely certain they're right. In a world where every action sends a signal, you're not just living. You're being watched, every tiny detail scrutinized. Think being rich means freedom? Wrong. You have to play by invisible rules no one tells you, and one slip, and you instantly lose points. Comment below which rule seems the most absurd. Like if you realize being rich doesn't automatically mean free. Share with that friend who always says money solves everything. And don't forget to subscribe, because out there, countless stories await that you're not ready for. Being rich is normal, but living under invisible rules, that's a whole different game.